Igor, we're going to start off with some ice-breaking rapid-fire questions. What is the best advice you have received about the future?
Things will change.
Will machines ever be smarter than humans?
Smarter, yes, but you can always unplug them.
What's the greatest invention of the last 100 years?
That's a hard one. The computer, the PC.
Yeah. And if an algorithm could tell you precisely, would you want to know the date of your death?
I would, and then I would avoid it.
Thank you. You left Belarus as a child, I think 11 years old. What impact did emigrating to the US have on you personally and professionally?
Well, this was 1977, the situation in Belarus. It was part of the Soviet Union. At the time, the opportunity wasn't good. The ethnic situation there wasn't good. Really nothing was good. So we managed to get out and make our way to the United States, where everything was good at that time.
And when you went to the States, what sort of dreams did you have? What sort of ambitions did you have when you went?
The ambitions were just to invent things. It seemed like the ideal place for dreaming up things and then becoming an entrepreneur and then becoming successful and all the things that come with it. Very typical American dream, I would call it.
And as a child, as a teenager, what did you excel at academically?
I excelled at programming. We were lucky enough to get a few Apple computers in our school, and I found myself spending quite a bit of time learning how they work and playing with them. But then we got jobs prescribing antibiotics in a local hospital using the basic programs. I hope nobody died from it. And then we moved on into video games, writing video games and publishing a book about video game design.
And after you left high school, how did your education continue after that? Well, where did you go to after that and eventually getting into business?
After high school, I went first to University of Houston, then the University of Texas, majored in computer science. I got a fellowship offer with AT&T Bell Laboratories to work for them. In exchange, you had to finish the master's program in just 1 year, which was a little rushed, but I did it. And then I found myself working at Bell Labs in New Jersey.
And from working with Bell Labs, you then move on, obviously, over a period of years to the company you founded, WorldQuant. Can you tell us something about WorldQuant?
Yes, WorldQuant is a quantitative investment management complex. We're in 13 countries with 24 offices around the world. We hire the most brilliant people, usually straight out of school, and we teach them how to trade. We took the whole trading process and we broke it down into key components so we can take a fresh graduate, teach them part of the key component, and in a couple of weeks they're already producing. And people ask, why 13 countries, why 24 offices? Well, because we believe that talent is distributed equally around the world. Opportunity is not. All the smartest people do not happen to be at the same location, and to get that true sampling of all the best people, you have to go around the world and you have to find them. And all these variations in thinking and the way people do things, they're actually worth a lot.
And then just in terms of, for the audience, the scale of business, the assets that you have under management, a ballpark figure?
Assets are 10 billion plus. We have lots and lots of different signals, 5 to 10 million different signals that we have developed that our research team creates, and then another team of about 100, 150 PMs puts these signals together and figures out how to monetize them.
So that's how you're using algorithms in quantitative finance.
Yes.
And what does that mean then in terms of your decisions on investment? What's the connection between that work that you're doing with the algorithms into the final decision making?
The decision making happens much ahead of time. You first find the algorithms, you backtest the algorithms, and starting with a scientific basis, how an algorithm would have worked in such and such window that it's likely statistically to keep working similarly in the next window. Going off from that basis, you put them together and you have a system. And the idea is to take out the human element as much as possible from the decision-making process, because humans are emotional and humans also cannot process 10 million things at the same time. Nevertheless, the human element is critical and becomes crucial for higher and higher level decisions.
And in terms of this predictive technology using algorithms, how do you see this shaping our world? How do you see it affecting our future?
Well, data is growing at exponential rates. There are all kinds of figures and all kinds of quotes that we give, but it's like tripling every couple of years, so it's growing exponentially, and with the data growing exponentially, it has to be interpreted. There's only one way to interpret exponentially growing data, and that's using AI, because people are not growing exponentially, so something has to give. So this sea of data, these ever more sophisticated AI algorithms help it make more and more sense and pick up more and more subtle connections between things that maybe are not obvious to a regular person.
So if we can turn to your book, Igor, it's focused on how AI and machine learning will reshape our lives in the future. How do you see humans and technology working together to enhance better outcomes, a better future? How do you see that happening?
Humans and AI are very symbiotic, in the sense that the way AI does things and the way humans do things is very, very different. AI has breadth and scale, but it doesn't have a soul, okay? And humans, on the other hand, may not be able to process such vast amounts of information, but they have intent, they have history going back millennia of what's a correct decision, what's not a correct decision. Everybody always is asking, will AI replace humans? Humans have survived billions of years under all kinds of conditions. AI, as great as it is, all you have to do is take the plug out of the wall and it disappears. So until AI solves that problem, it's not in the same, it's not a contender for the survival game. Yet it's very symbiotic. It picks up relationships that are hard to see, and it can, we think of intelligence as something holy and sacred even, but What if intelligence is just that, intelligence, like a tree is a tree, and intelligence is intelligence, and it's something that arises naturally when you force ChatGPT to take a sequence of 10 words and predict 11th word. It turns out that in order to do that, you have to develop something called intelligence to predict that 11th word really well. But it's still a thing, it's still an object, so we have to think about the world where intelligence can become a commodity and everybody has access to it. And how do you exist in such a world where everybody can make super hard calculations, super hard plans? What would that world look like?
Well, I suppose also then, there'll be people in the audience who are thinking about, particularly the students, thinking about their own futures as to what critical skills and human traits are needed to amplify the technology. In other words, the human part of this. From your experience, what would those be? What are the skills that we have that help us to work with AI and algorithms?
Well, the skills we have is we have a good world model of how everything works, and this includes all kinds of different things. And we did not learn it by reading 500 million web pages. It's kind of ingrained and it's built in. So we have to use this type of ability to ask AI the right questions so that it can do for us the things that it is good at. When we write an email, perhaps 90% of it can be written with a press of a mouse, but the other 10% is crucial. So we have to focus on the 10% and let the 90% be automated.
Yeah. With more and more data, and you've talked about the amount of data that you're having to process now, the world seems to be more and more predictable, yet nobody really predicted the COVID pandemic. Do you see that's a contradiction, or was COVID maybe just a one-off, that generally we can now increasingly predict our future?
Well, it's like this, that the more you can predict, those things that you can predict do become more predictable, but the more you lean and leverage on those predictions. So, for example, when Google Maps started estimating drive times very accurately, it became unnecessary to allocate 2 hours every day to drive to New York. You can very specifically plan it. And same with many other things. So you make tighter and tighter plans, which depend more and more on the predictions being right. But if something is not right, then something can go really wrong as well. So the risks, imagine a world in which everything that can be predicted has been predicted. What remains? It's kind of a scary place where you don't know what's going to happen next, and there is no way to know. But you cannot predict everything.
Well, that you talk about that scary position. I think it's probably fair to say there'll be many people in the audience here, I think generally, who worry about AI from a perspective, obviously, of, as you know, they're not experts on the subject, but in terms of how powerful AI can be, good uses to which it can be put, but also bad uses. What sort of words of reassurance could you give to the audience about don't be scared of AI because?
Don't be scared of AI because good uses always outnumber the bad uses. There will always, in any technology, there have been good uses, there have been bad uses. Good comes with a bad, and you just have to focus on the good and deal with the bad. There's really nothing unusual about AI as a new disruptive technology. just focus on creating good things with it.
Yeah.
And then the number of good things will outnumber the number of bad things.
We talked slightly earlier about the talent that you're recruiting at WorldQuant, what you do, the skills and traits that help to amplify AI, the technology. How is AI and the growth of advanced technology affecting global talent? Do you see responses from the universities in terms of producing the sorts of people that you and others in your line of business want to see?
Yes, there's a big focus on AI and AI-like talent. There's a strong surge in demand for these type of people, and you wind up having to compete for them. But like anything else, the educational system will catch up and will produce the right number of these people, and then the system will be in equilibrium again.
And do you see regional differences between different parts of the world in terms of understanding AI, understanding algorithms, producing the people that are required between, let's say, the States or Europe, Asia, because as you mentioned earlier, you've got offices all over the world. Do you see significant regional differences or not?
I would say at this point, not. The meccas of AI are still where they have been. Companies like OpenAI, where are they coming out? There's a big race to catch up and dominate, and that's happening. And this kind of dynamic can change. It can shift, and it requires a coherent and well thought out policy from governments, industries, and companies, how to stay competitive in all kinds of different circumstances and environments, because the breakthroughs are often very, very fast. All of a sudden, you get a step function, and you have to be ready.
We've talked about talent, and that maybe is a good entry point then into maybe asking you to tell us a little bit about the university you founded, WorldQuant University. What was your motivation to create it, and tell us a little bit more about its purpose?
The WorldQuant University is purely a philanthropic venture. It gives a master's degree in financial engineering for free. It's an online school. It has about 2,000 students, half from developed world, half from sub-Saharan Africa. And the idea was to kind of give a proof of concept that education can be delivered very cheaply and inexpensively in certain areas all around the world. The proof is here, and the next step is how to do it on a larger scale.
And what would your sort of ambitions be looking ahead for the university? What's your 5 or 10-year plan, shall we say?
I would love to see it multiples of tens and hundreds of where it is today.
Yeah. The algorithms that we've been talking about, for many people here, algorithms are behind the scene. They don't see it. They see maybe the fruits of that in terms of forecasts, decisions made. Will algorithms replace us?
No, they will not replace us, but they will be there. They'll be there doing all kinds of things, many things that we haven't thought of. They'll be predicting, they'll be driving, they'll be flying, they may be fighting, they may be giving psychotherapy, but they will not replace us because we're not algorithms. We're different kind of creatures.
And how should we, as humans, how should we adapt? How can we adapt to this new world of predictive AI? How should we be reacting to this?
We should rethink our processes, business processes and personal processes in terms of prediction, and recalibrate life around what's predictable and what's not. Your example before, if I wanted to know how long I would live, would I take it? Yeah, I would, because that very last day would be a very good day. I would really have fun on that day. So there.
In terms of, I'm very conscious, we're talking about a subject that very few people are really expert on. You are one of them. What do members of the audience here today, maybe particularly, maybe less so, we've got a largely young audience, we have a number of older people, and we're going back to that point about how we adapt to this. What do we need to know? What should we be learning about to be able to cope and to deal with AI? What do we need to be doing?
You need to get your hands on it and use it and see what it actually is. See what it can do, see what it cannot do. In the end, it's just a very far-reaching tool. And just learn it. Yeah, without learning, you can only philosophize.
And I suppose the sort of big question, how optimistic are you about the future of predictive AI, AI generally? How do you see it developing over the next period and beyond?
I'm extremely optimistic on the future of predictive AI. I think it'll keep evolving by step functions. It'll keep being able to answer more and more, do more and more, simulate more and more. So it's really a very exciting time to be here and watch these things happen, right? Today's world is a funny place. There are all kinds of things happening, some good, some bad, but this is definitely one of the good things that you can watch, and you can just say, wow, I'm so lucky that I was born in this age where I get to see the computer generate these Picasso pictures and make a 50-year plan for me, what to do, and so on and so forth. It's a very exciting time.
We obviously got a lot of students in the audience, some high school students who are going on to university, some university students here as well. In terms of your advice for the students in the audience who may be interested in AI, getting involved in AI, in algorithms, any words of advice for them?
Well, get into the weeds, as they say, and learn what it is. There's no other way.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for a warm round of applause for Igor Tulchinsky.